And we want to continue to discuss that call between President Biden and Prime Minister Netanyahu. Let's bring in the Deputy Mayor of Jerusalem, Fleur Hassan-Nahoum. Fleur, great to have you back on the show. Always a great talking to you. You give us such a great perspective. Have you heard anything about the call between President Biden and the Prime Minister? There are some reports that President Biden told the Prime Minister on the call that he wasn't trying to undermine him politically. But hey, if you're watching a lot of the speeches from Chuck Schumer and otherwise, with this administration giving their advice of what Jerusalem, or of what Israel should do, it seems a little bit different from that.
Well, I think that everybody was shocked with Senator Schumer's remarks. I think they were completely out of place. You know, as politicians in Israel, we try very, very hard not to get involved in any country's internal politics, and to basically make equivalent the Prime Minister, the democratically elected Prime Minister of Israel, with a corrupt dictator in the Palestinian Authority, Mahmoud Abbas, who's been in power for 19 years with no election, and say that those two men equally are blocking any chance of a two-state solution was honestly beyond the pale.
Fleur, do you feel slightly maybe insulted by this? And the reason I say that is we have a lot of experts come on our program and say that the reason why Schumer and Biden are hitting back against Netanyahu so hard and calling for a new election over in Israel is the fact that they want to appeal to their base, their Democratic base here in the United States, or else they won't get their votes come November. Do you read into that at all?
I think they do have a problem. They have a problem with their base. They have a problem because perhaps they haven't explained to their base what's actually going on here, which is not just a local Hamas-Israel war. It's essentially Iran against the free world. Israel is simply the first line of defense. And I believe that if people actually did a zoom out and understood what it is that we're fighting and how these people are the same people, the same mentality, same ideology of the people that perpetrated 9/11 on the United States of America, and the same people like, you know, the Iran regime who killed their own women down the street, the same people who are starving a whole population of Houthis. If the American people actually understood, or at least the Democratic base understood, that that's what's going on, perhaps they wouldn't need to be reprimanding the government of Israel so publicly in order to gain favor with the base. But I do know that they have a political problem. But ultimately, Israel is a sovereign government. We are great allies of the United States, and the United States are our best allies. The United States government has showed up for us after October 7th. We have to be very grateful, but ultimately, this government has to make its own decisions according to what's good for the people of Israel. And what's good for us is the dismantlement of a genocidal regime that have publicly declared over and over again that they want to destroy the whole of Israel.
Absolutely. We want to get your take here real quick on the offensive happening in Rafah. Is this necessary? I know Biden says no, he doesn't want to see Netanyahu go in, but is it necessary to weed out Hamas?
Well, unfortunately, it is. I mean, we really didn't want this war at all. I want to remind people we didn't start the war. The war started with a brutal massacre of our people on a peaceful October 7th morning when everybody was waking up in a Jewish festival. And so what do we have right now? Unfortunately, Rafah is where we know the genocidal terrorist mastermind, Sinwar, is hiding. We also know that the hostages are in Rafah, and we also know that the last 4 battalions of the terrorists of Hamas are in Rafah. So if the United States and the world, the free world, want us to win this war, unfortunately, there's no choice but to go into Rafah. Will we do everything we can to protect civilian lives? Absolutely, we've done that the whole way. But let me tell you something. The civilians, the Palestinian innocent civilians, are part of Hamas's defense strategy because they know that we, the Americans and the Israelis and any normal people, care more about their civilians than they do.
We know that that's what Hamas does, hide behind civilians to do their bidding. It's sick. Fleur Hassan-Nahoum, Deputy Mayor of Jerusalem, Thank you so much for coming on.
Thank you.